Okay. Today we're going to deal with the news, and I see many of you posting news items, but you seem to just randomly post, and you seem to just randomly put them up on the different social networks and emails and whatnot. But I'm going to try to get you to focus yourself a little bit. And when you see a news item, I want you to ask yourself, how does that affect the black community? Doesn't matter what the news item is. How does it affect the black community? And what steps, what things should you be doing in response to this situation? Okay, whenever you see a news item, if you see a child that's been, shot in the street, how does that affect the black community? How does that affect the number of black children shot so far? How does that affect what number? How does that take the number down of black children that are left? A lot of times you guys just see so many reports of black children dying, but I need you to start taking account and keeping account of how many children have died over a year period, 5-year period, 10-year period, so that you can get a better grasp of the impact that these deaths are having on the black community. I want you to know how many black children there are in the different countries or whatever. And I want you to know, I want you to start keeping track of how many are lost each month, each week, each year, whatever, and how that affects the number that is left. How many are born? How does that affect the number of how many we have left, how many black children we have too in the black communities? Okay? That way it's not just a random news item to you anymore. It starts to actually, you get a better grasp of how that news item fits into the black community and into the scheme of things. I told you that I want you guys to start dealing with 10-year periods, so that right now you should be dealing with January 1st, 2010 to December 31st, 2019. And as you can see, time passes very fast. So in that 10-year period from January 1st, 2010 to December 31st, 2019, what news items affected the black community, and what did you do? What was your response to each of those situations? So, you say, well, you can't respond to everything. Yes, there is a response that you can have to each and everything that affects the black community. It may be a small response, it may be a major response, but there should be a response, whether it's simple getting people together to write a letter campaign, or actually putting up, memorials. You have white folks memorializing every single event that happens in the white society. And black folks, they tend to just only memorialize whatever is popular, or whatever white folks say you can memorialize. You need to start actually memorializing these deaths. You need to know. I see you guys putting up stuff about Trayvon Martin and the 2nd anniversary of his death. That's great, but remember, there were a lot of Trayvon Martins. So you guys, instead of just putting up the one picture of Trayvon, you might want to put up a collage of all the children that we lost that year. Um, that's something that you can do. There's just so many things that occur in the news that really affect the black community. What response should you have to the Congressional Black Caucus? What should they be doing about each of the things that are going on and affecting the black community? When you see black nations, the black presidents, you know these black presidents, start making a list of these black presidents of each of the black nations, so that when something happens and you see a bunch of people die in a black country, you know who to notify, who to write a letter to, who to ask questions to, who to find out what's going on. You guys need to really start paying attention and connecting the dots to the different black nations and the black communities around the world. Okay, so that's just one of those things I'm seeing a lot of. I see your social pages, and a lot of you have your personal page, which is great. But I need you to start, if you have a focus or a passion, something that you're trying to fix in the black community, put a page up for that passion, for that thing that you're trying to fix. And you guys need to start networking a little bit differently. I see you networking, when it comes to just complaining and venting. But you need to network as to what each person on your page is doing in response to each of these situations. If you have, 15 people comment on a news item that you put out in your network, try to find out from each one of those people that commented, what are you doing in response? Not in a negative way of what you're doing. What is it that each of us can do? And I need each of you to tell me one thing that you're doing, you're physically doing in response to this child dying, or to these children dying in the street, or to this death that occurred over the weekend, or whatever it is. That way people can start getting in the mind frame of thinking solutions and reactions, not just emotional reactions, but actual things that they can do to start getting a handle on some of this stuff, if these are the things that you're trying to fix. Okay, when you see a child abducted, what is your structure for finding a black child that's missing? What does your network immediately start doing? I know you start sending the information around, but how do you start posting? If you're not there in the area where the child was taken, are there some other things that you can do, as far as helping out and finding that child? How long does it take to find a black child that's missing in the black community? I told you in the Black and Missing show, I told you that there are a lot of things that families do, thinking that police officers are their friends when it comes to teenagers and whatnot. That many of these teenagers, the family is thinking that these police officers are there to help the family, when in fact these police officers know exactly where these teenagers are, and it actually ends up taking longer to get these teenagers to go home and to get home, because you're having to fight the information being given to the police about the actual advocates that are trying to get to the children and get them to return home. When you have a little child that's missing, the whole, several black communities should be, mobilized to find that little bitty child. Um, there's just a lot of, when you have a senior citizen that comes up missing, the whole community, several communities, black communities should get together to mobilize to find that senior citizen as quickly as possible. Okay, so there's going to be, I'm going to start doing some shows where we actually look at some of the news of the day and start breaking down for you guys exactly how each of the news items and the news agencies, a lot of them put news up to try and make black people think a certain way or feel a certain way. And I'm going to show you how the different news agencies manipulate you into doing nothing about the news items that they put up and just accepting them. And how you can train yourself out of that and start doing something about each news issue that you see that comes up. Okay, so I wanted to kind of put that out there so that you can just a little bit, today, tomorrow, and each day after, start seeing news items and ask yourself, how does this affect the black community? And what steps should I be taking right now, today or tomorrow, to affect this situation, in response to this situation? Who should I be calling? What should I be doing to limit this situation or to expand the situation or whatever the case may be? Okay, so y'all know how we do. But I'm still here. And next time we're going to deal with this thing. Okay?